Hey guys, it's me Seren back with another video. This video is gonna be about Daredevil, the Netflix show Daredevil, which I know I'm late and the show came out like 4 months ago, and I'm sure everyone like binge watched it and whatever. But I don't binge watch. Me and my husband don't really do that. We don't have cable, so when something comes on like Netflix or something that we like to like stretch it out, like as if we're watching like regular TV. And we actually got a late start on Daredevil because I wasn't sure if I wanted to watch it. You guys know that I've pretty much tapped out of mainstream Hollywood at this point, even though it fucking sucks because, you know, I love media, I love movies, I love television, I love books, you know, I love speculative fiction, I love shit like Daredevil, superhero shit, but I refuse to watch anything with an all-white cast, as I'm sure you guys remember from my Mad Max video. I feel like it is white supremacist bullshit. Like, it's a white supremacist fantasy, right? It's like, my life is not white only, so why should the media that I choose to consume be white only, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So, my general rule of thumb for the moment is at least one person of color for something to be watchable. And I'm thinking of even raising that to like two POCs for something to be watchable. And that's mostly because of that horrible fucking Fantastic Four movie with Michael B. Jordan where they like tokenized him. So I'm thinking of even making it two, but right now it's one. So when Daredevil came out on Netflix and everybody was like talking about how amazing it is, and I checked out the cast, and the cast actually had Vondie Curtis-Hall, who's a black actor, and Rosario Dawson, who I love. I love her. Like, I'm obsessed with her. I was kind of interested. Like, I was kind of intrigued. And then my mom watched the series and was like, oh my god, I love it. It's so great. It's so amazing. Like, she recommended it. So my husband and I decided to give it a very late try. Like, I know I'm late. I know there's going to be people in the comments that are like, you're so late. I know. Yes, I know I'm late. I'm sorry. But when I watched the show, I just felt compelled to make a video. Like, my creative, you know, little juices, whatever, started flowing. So I thought the first like 4 or 5 episodes were great. I thought they were brilliant. I thought they were fucking dope. I thought they were just awesome. Like, the setting and how dark it was. I love the intro. I love the music. Probably one of the best intros I've probably ever seen. Like, I love the intro. And it reminds me a lot of Dexter, which I love Dexter. I don't know if any of you guys watch Dexter, but Dexter is like a serial killer that he has like the urge to kill people. So he decides instead of killing good people, he's gonna like kill bad people. So he like starts working with the police. So he has this like insider knowledge of like criminals, and he like kills criminals basically. And Dexter also had this like really amazing opening. But Daredevil kind of reminds me of Dexter if Dexter were a superhero, because Daredevil, he just kind of reminds me of Dexter. He's a dark character. He's like an anti-hero. He's not really a hero. You know, Daredevil, he's like a blind lawyer that fights crime at night. But part of why he fights crime is because he likes hurting people. So it's kind of like, I'm going to hurt these bad people so I don't have to hurt, you know, innocent people. There's a real interesting dynamic going on. Obviously, there's going to be spoilers. Spoilers. Maybe I should have said that earlier. Obviously, it's going to be in the title. Spoiler alert. Spoilers. For anyone that has not yet watched I was about to say Dexter. For anyone that has not yet watched Daredevil, there are going to be spoilers. Okay? Spoilers. So a lot of the things that Daredevil does reminds me of Dexter, you know, just except, you know, Dexter is a serial killer that works for, like, the cops, and Daredevil is a lawyer that, like, fights crime as a superhero, but he really does it because he likes hurting people, honestly. So I really liked it. Like, the first maybe 4 or 5 seasons, 4 or 5 episodes, I loved. I thought they were brilliant. The pacing was good. The plot was good. The storylines were good. Rosario Dawson was amazing. Like, I loved it. But then, as I'm watching, it all kind of fell apart at the halfway point. And by the end of the season, I kind of walked away with a bad taste in my mouth. And it's mainly due to the way that the show handled race. Of fucking course, okay? As I'm watching the show, I started noticing that all of the minority characters are pretty much disposable. Like, they're disposable. They don't matter. Like, the storylines was killing niggas off, killing Hispanic people off, killing Asians off. Like, the storylines were, like, killing these people off or just, like, disappearing them. Like, Rosario Dawson, like, disappears. We, like, don't see her for, like, she's, like, there for the first couple episodes, then she's, like, gone, then she, like, comes back towards the end. There's even, like, a part where, like, Daredevil gets his, like, ass kicked really, really bad, and he wakes up, and he's, like, all stitched up, and they say, like, oh, like, that pretty nurse, you know, like, came, like, she was, like, off-screen fixing him up, like, they didn't even show her. Now, I know that Rosario Dawson is probably one of the more recognizable names on this show, and I don't know, you know, maybe she had something to do and she couldn't be on the show, but it was just like, man, the minority characters on this show are fucking disposable. Like, they're disposable. And it was just like, they're killing people off, people are disappearing, and it's like the people that are getting killed or are being disappeared, I feel like those minority characters are more interesting than these white characters that I'm supposed to care about so much. Like, you're killing off more interesting minority characters really as plot devices or, you know, to get us to, like, have some type of emotional attachment or feel something for these, like, less interesting white characters, right? It was like, I started getting a really weird feeling while I was watching the show, and actually, I tweeted, I have the tweets in front of me, I had tweeted, like, oh, so I'm watching Daredevil on Netflix. It's pretty good, but man, are these minority POC characters disposable? And the minority characters are 1,000 times more interesting than Foggy, who is a whiny pissant, and Karen, who is an overbearing bitch. I fucking hate both of them. They could both get fucking murked. Any day now, they need to get killed off the show. And then I said, and it's like they just want us to like Foggy and Karen and all these other white people so bad. And I'm just like, no, they're terrible. Like, Foggy, who's Daredevil's best friend, is played by one of the kids from the Mighty Ducks, the Smash Brothers, but like not the one that you like, the other one. And Karen is Jessica from True Blood, which I used to love True Blood. I watched True Blood up until the Necromancer season, which I thought was a great season. I thought it was the best season, but I hated the way that it ended, because what did it end with? I used to love True Blood. I watched True Blood up until the Necromancer season, which I thought was a great season. I thought it was the best season, but I hated the way that it ended, because what did it end with? Motherfucking Tara getting shot in the chest. POC character getting shot in the chest, catching a fucking chest full of buckshot for lily white ass motherfucking Sookie. Sookie, typical white. Whatever. We're not talking about True Blood. I'm sorry, and that was a True Blood spoiler too, so I'm gonna have to like cut this video and have like a pause so that you guys know that like the True Blood spoiler alert are coming. But anyways, Karen is played by Jessica, white girl from True Blood, and Foggy is played by the white kid from the Mighty Ducks, and these are supposed to be like Daredevil's like closest friends and confidants, and Foggy is a lawyer just like Daredevil, so they have their own law practice, and Karen is initially their first client, and then she kind of transitions into being their secretary / friend, and they're supposed to be like, you know, a little fucking golden trio, like on some Harry Potter, fucking Harry, Ron, and Hermione type shit, except they are fucking terrible. The only one you really care about is Daredevil, aka Matt. I'm watching the show, and I'm like, anybody not Daredevil or fucking Fisk or Rosario Dawson, who I don't even know where she is right now because she's been disappeared for the last 4 episodes, they can just get the fuck off my motherfucking screen. These boring ass fucking white people. Like, Foggy and Karen are fucking selfish as fuck, just completely insufferable, and we're meant to like them. Like, you can tell we're supposed to like them. We're supposed to feel like, you know, the 3 of them with Daredevil form some kind of team. But even that, them supposedly being like super tight, like wasn't really written that well. You really see Karen and Foggy developing a relationship, but not the three of them together, and then all of a sudden we're supposed to like think that, you know, like Karen and Foggy are these like great people and like mad, and it's just very much like, oh, they're white, so like you have to like love them, right? Like we're supposed to like them in favor of the underutilized POC characters, minority characters like Claire, who's played by Rosario Dawson, because like whiteness, because they're white. Like there's really no other, there's no redeeming qualities about these two, fucking Foggy and Karen, who are like really the main characters aside from Matt. Like they are played as like nice white people, like these are nice white people trying to like save the world, one poor minority at a time. Like it's like very white savior. It starts kind of like veering into that territory. And I also kind of felt really uncomfortable. There's this plot line involving this, like, I think she's like Guatemalan woman, and that is very like white savior. She like talks in this heavy accent, and it's very like, please, like white people, like please help me. They're trying to like put me out of my home, and I don't know what to do because I'm a minority, and like please save me, white people. Like, and Karen, in her interactions with this woman and in her interactions, you know, just with the other characters, is especially grating to me. She grates on my fucking nerves. She's mean. She's a mean character. She's self-centered. You know, her scenes with Curtis-Hall, who I talked about in the beginning, who plays Ben Urich, I think is how it's pronounced, because he's race swapped. He's black on the show, and he's white in the comics, and he's a reporter. And the Karen chick, has a lot of like scenes with him, this like black guy, and they're supposed to be having like a mentor-mentee relationship, because he's supposed to be like an old reporter kind of on his way out, and she's like an up-and-coming young, you know, ballsy, trying to get to the bottom of like what's going on in Hell's Kitchen, you know, type of bitch. Even though that even that is not believable. She just seems like an overbearing cunt, if you ask me. But even her scenes with fucking Ben is just like, she's just like a white female privileged bitch, and everything about her just screams white female privilege. Like, oh, well, your wife is dying. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. It's like, oh, your wife is dying. Well, I don't really care. Like, what I want is more important, Ben. Like, so what if I'm not a reporter and I'm not a detective and I really don't know what I'm doing and I really don't have a plan about any of this shit and people might die? So what, Ben? So what? Help me, Ben. Help me, black man. You have to help me. You have to help me because I'm white and I'm a woman and I have white female privilege and you have to help me. I'm white and I want revenge on the people who wrecked my life. Union ally. She says that shit like 50 million times. They destroyed my life. They destroyed my life. They destroyed my... Bitch, obviously they did not destroy your life. It seemed like your life was doing okay. You have these like 2 new friends and this like new job as a secretary. Like, your life seems like you're doing okay. But she's like, they destroyed my life, Ben. They destroyed my life and I want revenge on the people who wrecked my life. And I'll get as many people of color killed as I have to for that to happen. Which ends up with... Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Which ends up with Ben getting killed. Ben gets killed. The lone black male good guy on the team gets murked because of Karen. Because Karen is a bitch. She's a selfish bitch. And she can't fucking take no for an answer. Because Ben's wife is sick. I want to say she's suffering from dementia. Like, she has these bouts where she, like, doesn't recognize him or, you know, doesn't know him and forgets things. He can't extend her stay in the hospital, so he says, you know, I'm retiring to take care of her in a hospice. And Karen, when he tells Karen and when he, like, takes all of his shit that he has on the case they're working on to bring down Union Ally, when he, like, tells her, like, I'm retiring, you know, like, I can't deal with this right now because there's more important things. She's like, she literally says out of her mouth, like, this is important. Like, you can't, how can you quit? This is important. And he says, like, it's important, but it's not the most important thing. That should have been game over, end of story right there. But what does she do? She fucking tricks him into, I don't want to give away too much. Like, she tricks him into going somewhere that was for the case it's under the pretense of, we're gonna go somewhere to check something out for your wife. Like, I'm gonna help you with your wife that is fucking dying. But it ends up being something to, like, draw him back into the case, because she's a selfish white bitch. I fucking hate her. I fucking hate her. And she ends up getting Ben killed. And I'm just like, yo, this show is really, the minority characters are fucking disposable. They can just be thrown away like trash and fucking murked. Like, and this is common, right? Like, it's common in mainstream media, and especially in speculative fiction, especially in comic books, you know, especially in these type of genres. You know, minority and POC deaths are often utilized as a way to make us feel bad for the white main characters. Like, there's like a complete disregard for, like, the black life that was lost, which sounds familiar. All we're supposed to do is feel sad for the white main characters of something that happened to their little black fucking sidekick, you know? And it really just illustrates how POC characters are often not seen as, you know, real. Ouch! Zelda just jumped on me. Sorry, guys. And it really just illustrates, Zelda, come on. And it really just illustrates, you know, where was I? See, then lost my train of thought. It really just illustrates how, you know, POC characters are often not seen as real, fleshed out individuals, you know? They're seen as props. They're seen as motherfucking scenery, you know, to make the gritty Hell's Kitchen environment seem more realistic. We're gonna throw some fucking spics in there, you know, shit like that. And it's like, we're scenery. We're props. We're plot devices. We're just meant to move the story along. We're not actual characters in a story, you know? And in Daredevil, damn near every single minority character that they introduced, you know, Ben, Claire, Rosario Dawson, the woman, I think she was Guatemalan, the Guatemalan woman, her name was Miss Cardenas. There's a Japanese, like, crime boss, like this woman that's like the head of a Japanese crime syndicate. Her name is like Madame Gao, and she has this associate named Nobu. Like, all of these people, you know, a various assortment, a smorgasbord, if you will, of POC criminals and allies and, you know, all these different types of people on the show. They disappear, they reappear, and they die as necessary solely to motivate the main white cast, solely to move the plot of the main white cast along. And it just sucks, because it's like, oh, minority character gonna be here tomorrow, not gonna be here tomorrow, gonna die, like, I don't know, you know? And it's like, and it's so common. It's so common. And it's like, you're watching these shows, and especially the ones that start off good, and then you start getting this, like, sinking feeling as you're watching it, because it's just like, damn, I can, like, already see where this is going. This nigga's gonna die. Like, and then what happens? The motherfucking nigga dies. Like, I don't watch Sleepy Hollow, but I've heard similar things about Sleepy Hollow. You get these, like, black characters, these POC characters, even, like, actually really great ones that then get sidelined, they get killed, they get just disappeared, you just don't see them for a while to make room for white characters. And I have to say that a lot of the times I feel like this is because the white showrunners, the white writers, the white producers, you know, all these white people that are in charge of these shows, that are working behind the scenes on these shows, regardless of the cast, the people that are working behind the scenes are still overwhelmingly white, and they feel like the white characters are better, they're more interesting, they're more relatable, you know? Like, I saw one of the producers, I read a producer interview on Daredevil, and one of the producers says, like, oh, I love Foggy because he's, like, so relatable, he's like an everyman. I'm like, what? That's fucking white trash slob? He's relatable to you because you're probably a white trash slob white man just like him. That doesn't mean he is relatable. White people are not the default. They are not the default human being. They are not universal. Their experiences are not universal, and just because they're white characters doesn't make them more relatable. And this is part of why we need diversity, we need representation, not only in the cast, but also in the writers' rooms, you know, the showrunners, the producers, the reviewers that are writing the reviews, and none of them mention the fucking racism, right? None of them mention the racism, because even with the reviewers, that's how you end up with shows like Daredevil that get all this critical acclaim, and then you as a black person, as a person of color, you end up watching it and you're like, So none of the reviews that I fucking read talked about the elephant in the room, all this fucking racist shit that's going on, and the fact that these motherfucking characters are being treated like they're disposable. You have to, like, go to a site like racebending.com, which covers issues of race in the media, and especially, like, in fiction and in speculative fiction. You have to go to a site that specifically talks about race, because the majority of the reviewers are white, and they're going to be like, oh, I didn't even notice, just like in Mad Max. Oh, yeah, you know, it was all white, with the exception of Zoe Kravitz, and, you know, that was regrettable, but it really didn't take anything away from the movie for me. Like, I was able to just look right past it, like, yeah, because you're fucking white, and you see yourself, you know, represented, right? Like, we need more diversity. And like I said, around, you know, the halfway point of Daredevil, all I could think was, like, the show is handling race really bad, and it's making me really, really uncomfortable. And back to the whole Ben getting killed thing, I've also seen the excuse from a lot of people in the Daredevil fandom, because I was, like, trolling through the tag on Tumblr, of course. I've seen the excuse that it was better that they killed Ben instead of Karen, because Ben and Karen were in the situation together. Like I said, she, like, tricked him into going to this place by pretty much using his dying, ill wife, which is fucking horrible, fucking bitch. But anyways, a lot of people are saying it's better that they killed Ben instead of Karen, because they're saying that female characters being killed or tortured or whatever to motivate the main male character, which would be Daredevil, because they used Ben's death as a way to motivate Daredevil, of course. They're saying that women getting killed to motivate the main male character is a tired comic book trope. Like, I saw a lot of white feminists that were saying, like, no, it's, like, good, it's, like, better, this is, like, a step in the right direction, that, like, for once, the man got killed and not the woman. And I'm just there like, that's racist. That's racist. Like it's true that it is a trope that the woman gets killed, or the woman is the damsel in distress, or the woman gets tortured, or the whole, like, Mary Jane thing. Like, yes, that's true. But as a black woman, this plays into intersectionality for me, because it's like I'm being asked to choose between the killing of the lone fucking black man on the good team versus the killing of the lone woman on the good team. Both as motivation for the white male main character. Like, how am I being asked to pick one as better when I'm both of those things? I'm black and I'm a woman. Like, and it's so offensive to have people say to you, like, well, who cares that the black person got killed because the white bitch is still, who got them into the jam, is still alive, right? It's like my common issue with white feminism. Like, women of color and black women in particular are asked to fucking make these choices between race and gender, and if you say, well, no, I actually would have preferred that fucking Claire got her goddamn head cut off. Claire is Rosario Dawson, I don't want her to get her head cut off. If you say that I would prefer Karen get her fucking head cut off, they would say, oh, so you're against other women, in their little Taylor Swift voice. Oh, so you're pitting women against each other. You're pitting women against each other. Oh, you want to see the death of another woman? Ah, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, well, but racist white bitch, you want to see the death of a black man. So, fucking here we are. Like, here we fucking are, you know? Like, it's intersectionality. Like, and it's just trash, and it sucks that we even have to be put in these positions of making the choice between people of color, black people, or women. And meanwhile, white men just still get to just have the whole genre to themselves. They just get to have everything to themselves. And the rest of us have to make these choices, you know? It fucking sucks. And they also had some other issues with the whole Ben's murder storyline that also rubbed me the wrong way, because they had Ben's wife, who's black, his black wife, they had her forgive Karen for her role in his death at his funeral. She, like, tells the wife, like, oh, it's, like, my fault that he got killed, and the wife says, like, she forgives her, which fucking made me fucking literally, like, cringe. I was like, I can't escape this narrative, even in, you know, the false, you know, the stories that I'm trying to, like, have my little bit of escapism, like my fiction, my speculative fiction. I can't even escape this fucking narrative of like the magical Negro that's just full of like overwhelming love and joy and healing and forgiveness and bounty for fucking white people that fucking steal black lives. Even in my fucking fiction entertainment, I cannot escape this narrative. Black people are always made out to be, like I said, the magical Negroes, capable of taking intense amounts, of pain, and just, oh, it's okay, Jessica from True Blood, come to my black bosom, and I will just absolve you of any personal responsibility or guilt or culpability for your wrongdoings. And that's something we see over and over again. Blacks that are expected to fucking give out forgiveness. And at his funeral, I felt like it was offensive, and it was really cringeworthy, and it was really poorly done, and it's just like, this is the idea that we're supposed to just absolve whites of everything. They don't have to take personal responsibility for anything. They're never wrong. They never did anything wrong, especially white women. That is a part of our role in the system of racism, white supremacy, to just kind of like smooth over the white guilt, Even on something as fucking minor and ridiculous as a show about a fucking blind lawyer superhero, you still see an example of that narrative getting pushed. And it's fucked up. It is a fucking microaggression. It's a microaggression, right? Like, it is something that, like, I don't think that, like, they're sitting there rubbing their hands together like, yes, we're gonna, like, put this fucked up shit in the show to fuck with people. Like, no, I don't think they're doing that, but it is a microaggression. It is something kind of, it's ingrained. It's something that, these white writers and, these people feel like it's something reasonable, right? Because that is already a narrative that is pushed, and it has an impact. Like I've said in other videos, studies have shown that white people in real life generally feel like black people feel less pain than them, or that we can handle more trauma than they can. I was reading a really interesting article the other day about how a lot of times black people are, they're underdiagnosed with mental illness and mental stress and PTSD and depression and things like that, because you have an overwhelmingly, white psychiatric and, I don't want to say industry, but, medical field practice, where you have these people that, they have these ingrained ideas, these stereotypes. Oh, those black people could take it. They could take it. They all right. They whatever. They're this. They're that, like, it's ingrained. It has an impact. And, for example, going back to Daredevil, showing Ben's wife forgive Karen only reinforces that theory, even if it's only on a subconscious level for somebody watching it. Now that's something that they've seen, something that's acceptable, something that they might think later, And it's like, would the white wife of a murdered white reporter be asked to do the same on that type of show? No. 9 times out of 10, the way that we see that type of narrative or dynamic unfold is that the wife wants revenge. How many fucking revenge stories have we seen with a white woman in the lead, leading this campaign because of something that happened? But we're supposed to see a black woman as meek, as sweet, as docile, giving out this forgiveness. It is a microaggression, and microaggressions, like I said, they're unintentional by nature, but they still send a message. They send a message, And there were lots of other fucking microaggressions on this show. Like, don't even get me started. Like, fucking all the Asian characters, every Asian person we saw was a criminal. We did not see a single non-fucking criminal Asian in the whole fucking show. Like, even the big bad fucking Fink, aka Kingpin, is given like a sympathetic, fully fleshed out backstory, but like the evil Asians, who are like the second most prominent villains, they're mere fucking caricatures of themselves. A lot of the times you saw that the reoccurring black characters were also seen as like bad or like criminals. There's a subplot, spoiler, of course. There's a subplot that involves a dirty cop getting shot to frame Daredevil. He falls into a coma. When he wakes up, they pay off his partner to kill him. The partner's black. The dirty cop that's in the coma is white. That scene made me really uncomfortable to watch. We see the black guy fucking get paid off. He goes in there with the syringe to go poison the white dude. Now, mind you, the white dude was crooked too. Which is why he got set up. But we don't see him being crooked in the scene where he's about to get murked by the black guy. We see him laying there, like, laid out, like, in the hospital bed, like, looking all, like, weak and sad and looking like a victim, like he's about to be victimized by this black guy. And I felt like it sent a message. I felt like it was a microaggression. I felt like it was a microaggression, you know? And I feel like a lot of the underlying themes around race in Daredevil was that most people of color are bad. They're bad people, they're criminals, they're thugs, and even the good people of color are disposable. They can be done away with at any time. Even the good people of color are still really not on the level as the white people. Even the good people of color are living in the slums. Even the good people of color are dealing with, you know, all this fucking crime and getting stabbed, getting beat over the head, and this, that, and the third. Like, there was a real, like I said, there was some real white savior shit going on that rubbed me the wrong way. It really did. And I actually saw a really great comment on a message board or, you know, on Tumblr or something about Ben's death where they said like killing Ben, I'm paraphrasing, they said like killing Ben like sends a bad message or like sends the wrong message, especially because he was the only main character to be race bent, the only one from white to black. So he was the only main character to be race bent, and he was the only good guy that we saw killed. So like, what kind of message does that send, even on a subconscious level, even on the level of a microaggression, which is not a conscious, you know, intentional desire to fuck with people, but you just see the way that these stereotypes and these ingrained ideas that we already have in the back of our mind about race because of the society that we grow up in, especially white people, yes, all white people, we see these ideas start to manifest. We really see these ideas start to manifest, you know? And especially, like I said, there was like tons of other microaggressions. There was tons of kind of like casual racism that was kind of like played up for kicks and like played up for jokes. There were a lot of language barrier jokes, which made me really uncomfortable. There's a scene where Foggy, Dick, he pronounces the word abogados, which is the Spanish word for lawyer. He keeps pronouncing it as avocados. He like keeps on pronouncing it as avocados, and that became like a running joke in the fandom. They like have all these like memes and all these like pictures and fan art of like avocados at law, where like they have like these two avocados dressed up as like Foggy and like Daredevil, and one of them has like the glasses and like the cane, and like it's like a language barrier joke. And I see why the joke is funny, because avocado does sound like avocado, I'm not gonna lie. And it might have actually been funny if like a fucking Hispanic or a Latino was in on the joke. But the only Hispanic and Latino we even see in the whole show is Mrs. Cardenas, who's a Guatemalan chick who ends up fucking dead, stabbed, and hit over the head. Like, so we basically see two white men cracking each other up about like the otherness of Spanish and like how hard it is to say the words, and like, ha ha ha, it sounds like avocado, ha ha ha, it's so funny. And I was just like, this isn't funny. This is like bad white humor. And again, this is why you need diversity in writing rooms, and this is why you need diversity on a production team. You need somebody to step up and say, like, maybe this joke is not a good fucking joke. Like, and I know people say, like, oh, it doesn't matter, like, there's no such thing as, like, a bad joke or whatever, this, that, and a third, but it's like you have two fucking white males tee-heeing it up about how hard it is to say abogados, but then the next scene, we're supposed to believe that there's some type of, like, champion crusaders for, like, the poor, disenfranchised minorities of Hell's Kitchen. There's just, like, a whole bunch of, like, mess going on with the race. And it's a shame, because I did actually like the show. I know it probably sounds like I fucking hated the show, but I did actually like the show, and like I said, the first 4 or 5 episodes were really, really, really good. And then it just all started falling apart, and they started really trying to like push these white characters on, I felt, and make us like them. And they started wanting to like shock us kind of with like the violence of the show and the dark, gritty nature of the show. But all we ever saw getting killed, with one exception, but I'm not going to spoil that. That one I'm really not going to spoil. The only person people we really ever see getting killed are fucking minorities. And the minorities are killed as plot points to move the main white characters along. And it's just like, can I get something else? Can I get something better? Like, this has the potential to be a great show. Like, why do I have such a bad taste in my mouth when I'm done watching it? Like, why do I, like, have this, like, weird feeling when I finish watching it, you know? Like, I don't know. Hopefully they can get it together for the second season. I'll probably watch the first couple episodes of the second season, but if I get the same feeling as Deuces for Daredevil, but hopefully they get it together. And in the meantime, have you guys seen the Minority Report trailer starting making good? Now that shit looks... I love Minority Report. I just watched that movie the other day. I really, really, really like that movie. And I'm super excited for that show. So maybe I'll include a link in the description box so you guys can watch it and let me know what you think. If you've watched Daredevil, let me know what you think about that. Excuse me, if you got the same kind of like creepy, icky feeling. Like, I talked to my mom about it. And my mom didn't notice. So I know that it's like one of those kind of things that you either notice or you don't. I just noticed that type of shit, you know? Woke. Can't go back to sleep. Can't catnap. So, food for thought as always. See you guys next time. Peace.